So Beyblade Burst is pretty much over. I mean, we still got Quad Drive, which is cool, and for the next year we're getting Burst Ultimate. But Burst Ultimate is just going to be more toys. There won't be a new anime, sadly. So I thought it'd be cool to go over what the next Beyblade system and series could look like. Now, just to let you guys know, there is nothing official here. All this is purely my own thoughts and ideas of what Gen 4 might look like. Anywho, let's start with the new Beyblade system. When it comes to this new system, I really got this idea when I saw the limit break system in Surge/Sparking and from the God system just as a whole. And that idea has something to do with the different types of bays. In Beyblade, there are 4 different types: attack, stamina, defense, and balance. And I was wondering, hey, what if a bay could switch to a different type mid-battle? And that's basically the idea. Let's say we have Rocktivore, a stamina type, going up against an attack type like Valtryek. Well, in the world of Beyblade, stamina types are weak against attack types. But imagine if Valtryek was just hitting Rocktivore a certain number of times and suddenly Rocktivore's layer spreads out some wings and its performance tip changes to a whole flat. Then Rocktivore would become an attack type. I think that would be really cool. And by the way, every bay wouldn't be a balance type. I figured that's the first thing you guys would be thinking about. And the reason why this is because there are certain qualifications that make each type the way it is. Instead, each bay would just have more than one type. So in this case, Rocktivore would be a stamina type and an attack type. To give you another example, let's say you have Spryzen going up against Luinor, and in mid-battle, Spryzen's layer extends down a bit, and its performance tip went from Unite to Wave. Then Spryzen would have changed to a defense type, so it would be a balance/defense type bay. Now as for how this system would work, I'm not too sure. I would want the change in the performance tip and the layer to be activated at the same time. The first idea that I had would be some sort of sensor, but I'm afraid that the sensor would break easily in battle. So now I'm thinking something of the lines of like the performance tip would be connected to the layer somehow. But don't worry, the base would still be customizable. The performance tip would just be a separate part that connects to the layer. I'm sure for a system like this, there would be a lot of testing. It sounds so simple, but so complex at the same time. But I think with all the systems we had before, it could be done. But yeah, that's basically the idea I have for the new system. Next, we're talking about the rules of the game, which is going to be a very short section because I have no idea what to add. But I wouldn't change the rules we have now because that wouldn't make any sense. We're still gonna have ring outs, we're still gonna have sleep outs, but there wouldn't be burst finishes anymore because it's no longer Beyblade Burst. I would keep the point system that Burst has because I feel like it's better for the game and for the show overall. I just don't know how you would gain 2 points. So comment down below what you would do. I would love to hear your thoughts. Now let's get on to the new Beyblade series. So as a placeholder name, I'm going to call the series Beyblade Switch Strike, which sounds cool, but I don't want people to get confused with Switch Strike from Burst, but for now, that's what it's going to be called. Something that Beyblade always did for the bays was having some sort of theme. Gen 1 had mythical beasts, Gen 2 was constellations, and Gen 3 was like a mix of warriors and mythical beasts. Honestly, I would do the same theme as Gen 3. It's a good theme, and it brings opportunity to bring back other bays that we haven't seen in a while. Like, seriously, when's the last time you saw a turtle Beyblade? The only one is Drasil. How you gonna do Max like that, TT? Our main character's bay is going to be Chaos Dragonaut, which I think sounds flippin' awesome because it's a combo of Dragon and Juggernaut. To Karatomi, get on this! By the way, Dragonaut would be a stamina/attack type for 2 reasons. Reason 1, Beyblade has pretty much had a main character with an attack type. We had Tyson, although types didn't exist back then, but in the Burst releases, Dragoon is an attack type. Jenga had an attack type, so did Zero, and a majority of the main characters from Burst did as well. The second reason is because I just kind of want to change the status quo and show some of the other types some love and let them have some of that main character spotlight. Also, there wouldn't be any gimmicks as of yet, just because I imagine there would be a lot of testing for the toys. The only gimmicks involved would really be in the performance tips, but nothing in the layers quite yet. Oh, and Dragonaut's special move would be Chaos Crash. Now for the guy who owns Dragonaut, we have Drake. That's it, just Drake. I'm sorry guys, it's just a placeholder name. But also, if you look at every character from Burst, all their names start with the same letter as their bays, or the characters just straight up have their name in their Beyblade. And I want to keep that going. As for Drake's design, I actually see something similar to Dante's, just because his design is so freaking awesome. I mean, this guy's design is basically a gangster blader. It's so cool. Oh, and Drake's catchphrase is, "Let's get chaotic." Alright, now that we have met Drake and Dragonaut, let's get on to the series story. So at first I was going to talk about how Beyblade doesn't really have that much depth to it, but if you look at some of the arcs, even in Gen 1, Beyblade actually has a lot of depth to it. Except for Gen 2 probably. It's just that Beyblade has always been treated as a kids show, and because of that, the themes just don't hit as hard. Also, the voice acting for the dubs could be better, although Gen 3 does have some good voice acting in the beginning. As a side note, the Burst manga is more graphic than the anime. It shows blood, we see how Shu gets his scar, but I am glad there were some things that didn't make it into the anime. But the main problem I have with Burst is that all of the main characters pretty much come from the same background. They all come from good homes, most of them have both parents and siblings. Belle is really the only odd one out, but that little prick lives in a mansion and he has the second coolest grandpa. Dude is fine. Therefore, I'm gonna go in the opposite direction. We're just gonna straight up make this kid an orphan. And because of the way he's growing up and what everyone is telling him, he doesn't really have much confidence in himself. I know we're getting into some dark stuff for Beyblade, but don't worry, it gets better. Because the one thing that cheers Drake up is watching Beyblade on the old TV in the orphanage. And after Drake finds a Bey named Dragonaut in the trash, he goes and fixes it and starts battling in the underground arena, where he meets his rival, Blake. Hashtag placeholder name. By the way, these two don't like each other. Blake and Drake get into a fight for some reason, but then someone breaks it up and is like, "Yo, decided with a battle, yo." Then they battle. I bet you didn't see that coming, huh? Being Drake's first battle, he's pretty bad and even has a hard time getting a solid launch. Not nearly as bad as Vault though. This guy can actually get his Bey in the stadium every time. But he doesn't really know what works for him yet. So after Blake takes a point by ring out finish, Dragonaut is not pleased, and after Drake launches a second time, Dragonaut takes over and starts battling by itself, not listening to Drake at all. Dragonaut switches from standout mode to attack mode and wins with a score of 2-1 by super ring out finish, I guess. But Drake doesn't really feel like a winner because he really didn't do anything to help Dragonaut win. And that's the end of the first episode. Boom! That's my idea for Beyblade Gen 4. Let me know what you think. Just take into account that I was pretty much spitballing here. As I was making this video, I did come up with other ideas for the story, but let me know if this is something you actually want me to make. Just know it wouldn't be an anime series, it would be a manga, just because right now I don't have the time to do an actual animated series, but I think I could make time for a comic. I hope you enjoyed the video, and remember, stay animated.